All right. Good morning, Urban Faith. Here we are again. I'm so excited today to be sharing with you and to be interviewing truly an inspirational figure. It's also so awesome to hear these stories of people's journeys in faith and professionally. And so today we're talking to Dr. Myron Rolle about his new book, The 2% Way. And this book will be available everywhere. You absolutely should check it out. It says it right there in the subtitle, but Dr. Rolle is a neurosurgeon who also was an NFL player, incredible journey, was a Rhodes Scholar. And so we're so excited to talk to Dr. Rolle today. And Dr. Rolle, I just want to welcome you and thank you for sharing with us at Urban Faith.
Alan, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And so the first question that I have for you, and I ask this of a lot of authors, you now have produced the book that tells your story. What inspired you to share your story in this way? You've had such huge platforms for so long because of your athletics and your academics. Why did you decide to share your story in a book?
Well, actually, the idea of writing the book came from my wife, Latoya. So we're every time I finish at the hospital, when I step out the hospital, that's when I give her a call, and it's a sort of our routine. I tell her about my day, surgeries that went well, surgeries that may not have gone as well, and we're just talking. And then I was walking down to my downtown Boston apartment, and I was in the lobby, just tired, didn't want to get upstairs yet. It was a 24-hour shift, and we're just talking and having a nice, easy conversation. And she said, "You know what? I think you should put your story on paper." And I was like, no one wants to hear from me. I'm in the doldrums of residency. I said, it's dark, like Boston is cold. I said, I'm not really into it. I don't know. No one wants to hear from me just yet. And she says, yes, Myron, every time that we go out to eat or we go somewhere, or I get an email from someone who says they've drawn inspiration from your story. And you've always told me how Ben Carson's book, Gifted Hands, opened your eyes to neurosurgery. Maybe your story can do that for someone else. And so she believed in me more than I believed in myself. And sometimes you need your spouse to kind of do that for you. So she was the one that sort of pushed me to this direction, found a literary agent. They shopped it around a few publishing companies. Next thing you know, 9, 10 months later, we have this book written, and we're excited about it because this 2% way, the title of the book and the methodology behind it is something that I live my life by. So it wasn't a stretch or a reach for me to write this book because it is my story, but it's injecting this ethos and this mindset that I live by every single day. So I'm excited to share and excited to get it on paper and excited for audiences around the world to hear about it.
Absolutely. And I love you sharing just how it was your wife who helped push you in this direction. And one of the things you talk about, you say explicitly a few times, is your family really grounds you and also is your motivation and inspiration for a lot of what you've accomplished and a lot of what you do. Can you talk about why it's important to stay grounded and how family has helped you to do that through the course of your journey?
Well, I think family is incredibly important. And I stay grounded by two ways. One, by my relationship with Christ, and two, by my family. One, I believe in the scriptures that I read all the time, especially the story of Joseph, where he was sold into slavery and abandoned and lied on and then left in jail and forgotten about in jail. Just all these sort of things that happened to him in the scripture, it always talks about, and God was with him. So I realized that if anything that I go through in life, hard, difficult, easy, not that bad, I'm always going to have God with me. And that ability to know that there's someone who's covering me at all times keeps me grounded and lets me understand that, my walk right now and my journey, my purpose right now is to be humble, remain with my head down, and do the work that I need to do on this earth. And then my family supplementing that with their belief in me, their encouragement. They buttress me forward. They always support me. They speak positive words and speak life into me. And I appreciate that. My wife, my parents, my brothers, we all come from the Bahamas. And so coming from a country that's low resourced, and then coming to America where there's an abundance of resources and ample opportunities, I always keep that perspective in my mind that, look, my cousins and my godbrothers and grandparents and everyone else is still back home. They didn't have the chances that I had to play American football, to go to a high academic prep school in high school, to get a football scholarship at Florida State University, become a Rhodes Scholar, and do some of the things that this country afforded me the chance to do. So I keep all those things in mind, and my repayment for the sacrifices that my parents and family have made, and my brothers as well, is to be the best person I can be, exhaust all of my ability intellectually, athletically, philanthropically, spiritually, and just try to uplift someone in the process as well.
That's so important. And as I was reading through, I loved how you were able to weave in your philosophy with the stories. You told us not just what the 2% way was, or not just your story, but you were really drawing out principles as you went through each stage of life. And you talk about how you got this 2% way early on from a coach that you had. Can you talk about why it was important for you to do that weaving of your philosophy and the principles and the lessons that you learned with the narrative, and not to try to keep those separate? Why was it important that you put them together?
That's a great question, and I think it helps the reader connect with the story and connect with the overall message. I want individuals who read this, whether they be young, old, black, white, American, non-American, coach, teacher, whoever, who takes this book and says, I want to ingest this and try to grab something from it. I want them to be able to relate to the human side, the personal stories that come from this book. You know, if you look at my life on social media, or just that's been reported in the news for my entire life, it's typically been, the inspirational, motivational stuff, high level, sort of surface level sort of things. This gets into the deep self-doubt, uncertainty, being prejudiced against, having work trouble, having family issues, poverty, relational issues, all the challenges that day-to-day humans, day-to-day people face all the time. You don't have to be a physician, you don't have to be an NFL player nor a Rhodes Scholar to connect with this book. You can be just a person who is living their life, trying to find purpose and trying to improve themselves, small steps every single day. And so that's why it was important to have my story arc and then inject this mindset throughout the story arc. And the 2% way came from my coach at Florida State. He challenged us, my teammates and I, to get 2% better, small steps, small gains every single day of practice, whether it be 2% in our tackling, 2% in our ability to catch the football, 2% in our ability to blitz the quarterback. And then he'll go into the locker room after practice and put on the board, hey, Roll got 2% better today, or Roll got 1% better. So he kept me accountable, and I extrapolated that ideology to life. And so that anything that I do, any chance encounter I have, any book I read, conference I attend, I want to grab 2% from that moment, apply it to my journey, and allow it to uplift me. And that's the thing. We can take large, overwhelming, seemingly daunting tasks and break them down piece by piece and get 2% better every day. And if we can do that every single day consistently, we can see how far we've come a month, 6 months, a year from now. And I think everyone can relate to that.
Yeah, I do think that that's so helpful, that it allows you to be able to hold yourself accountable and to track progress, and that it's not, you name in the book that it's not trying to change overnight, that nothing in your story happened just all at once, that it happened that 2% at a time. But one of the things that really struck me as well, as I think about our audience, and you had a list of things that you would try to go through, goals that you had, which I thought was so empowering. Why was it important for you to write down and set your goals at different stages as you were going through, from moving from high school to trying to get to college and preparing yourself to be a college athlete? And then when you were preparing for the Rhodes Scholarship, you would have these lists that you included in the book. Why was it important to write down and make those kinds of goals?
It was very important to put those down into paper because it made it more real for me. And instead of being something abstract and nebulous, I said, if I took the time to use my mind, to think, to have my hand motor skills, to actually write something down, I can not only remember it, but I can always go back to it whenever I wanted to sort of check in with myself, check in with my journey, check in with my progress. Am I doing what I need to do? I know the end goal, the end result that I want to get to. Am I taking the small steps, the processual steps every day to do that? And if I'm not, then can I challenge myself to do better? And do I have people around me, like my family, like my friends, my fraternity brothers, my wife now, to sort of help me, keep me accountable? Iron sharpens iron, right? You got to have people that are going to sort of, hey, are you doing what you need to do? Are you still working at this? Are you reading like you should? Are you sleeping like you should? Are you, ingesting the right food? Are you staying away from, these sort of distractions so that you're able to maintain your focus and get to where you want to get to? And the beautiful thing about the 2% way is that as it's a self-improvement, sort of self-edification process, and a very simple one that has a lot of utility, it's also a way for you to uplift and share on others too. Because as you grow, other people grow with you. You'll see your colleagues, your friends, your social circle also sort of adapt some of your techniques and your methodologies about going through things. And you guys all win together. And I've seen that with my colleagues who play football with me. I'm seeing them sort of have the same hunger for philanthropy that I have, want to serve the community like I have. And I'm not saying I'm all responsible for that, but
Mm.
certainly if they hear me talk over and over again about how it's important to serve the least of these, like Matthew 25:40 talks about, then maybe they'll want to put that into their armamentarium of their prowess of being an NFL player, translating their success and their attention that they got as a football player now to serving the community in whatever way they want to do it. And I've seen a lot of my colleagues do that. It's a blessing to be, a part of that process for them.
Yes, you brought up something there, talking about how your faith impacted the people around you in ways that it empower communities, that uplift other people. And one of the things that struck me, you named it in a chapter where you were talking about how faith is something that's not just part of who you are, it's been there for you, but that it plays out in real ways that you can communicate. And you tell this story about being in a storm and knowing that God was going to help your family get where you needed to go. And I've seen that, I've heard that from so many people, especially who haven't had as much privilege as so many people in America do, or who have, had to depend on God in real ways, even though, we do this all the time as Black people. You hear it if you go to Black churches. Testimony service is something that they don't have in all churches, but we know. Can you talk about why the experience of a testimony is important, how that's how you feel like that's a good way to share your story and to inspire others to share the story of what God did, rather than just quoting scriptures at somebody, or just throwing out a principle?
You're absolutely right. I think having that real life example that many people may have faced, the story you're mentioning is in the book where I'm in the Bahamas and my auntie's taking us home from one of the carnival shows that only comes once a year. And I mean, it's just torrential downpour. There's no lights on the road. The Bahamas doesn't have many lights at nighttime anyway. So you're just trying to navigate through this dark wilderness. And we were all sort of nervous and scared. And my auntie was praying like over and over again, like trying to figure it out. She was stopping every 2 seconds to wipe the
Right.
windshield off. And it was just a crazy moment. But at the end of all of that, I said, you know what? I knew he had us. I knew God had us. I knew he had our back. I knew he was with us the whole time. And I knew we were going to be okay. Even though it was a little bit scary at the time, I knew things were going to work out. And sharing stories like that, I think that allows it to resonate more with individuals outside of maybe the typical Christian sort of talk or Christian scripture that, sometimes you can get lost in the wording of it, the verbiage, or you can get lost in sort of the overall message. But if it comes down to the point of making it practical, making it realistic, that your neck down and neck up can both feel it and ingest it, then I think it makes a lot of sense. And one thing I'll say that my faith has really helped me with, especially now as a practicing physician, is my temper. I had
Mm.
a huge temper growing up. I used to get in fights. I got suspended all the time. I had to go to court for a fight that I had, and you'll read about this in the book as well. Just crazy. My life could have went a whole different direction if God didn't intervene. But now, as a physician, as a leader, as someone who's looked up to, I had to sort of bridle that sort of childlike, boy-like temper, and
Mm.
think of myself as a man, as a leader, as a husband, as a father, as someone who is a role model to many individuals, and not succumb to the temptation of wanting to lash out if a racial epithet is thrown my way, or something doesn't go my way based on the way I look. And I'm in Boston, which is notably a segregated city. So there's a
Yeah.
lot that goes to it, but faith is it informs my life, and it's been a beautiful thing to have, and I'm glad I'm able to share it in a way that feels natural to me through this
Yeah.
book.
And it is just an incredible story, and you sharing your faith and you're being shaped. And I appreciate the way that you take the time to acknowledge the people who helped you get where you are, that it wasn't something that happened because of you're extremely talented, right? We get that. You had extreme gifts as a child, but those were shaped in so many ways by people you encountered, by your family, by your faith. And one of the big things that brings back to me is mentorship. You name that as something that's important. Why is it important for us to have mentors, and what difference can that kind of make for us?
I think mentors are very important. They help us see the path that we would like to take, and they can often have an objective viewpoint, an vantage point, a 30,000-foot view at what you're doing and which steps you need to take, and maybe some of the challenges that you can sort of avoid because they've been down this road before, or they've seen this before. They know how it plays out. For me, my daddy had, and my mommy put some incredible Black figures in front of my face when I was younger: Kofi Annan, Nelson Mandela, Paul Robeson, Booker T. Washington, and
Yeah.
then Ben Carson. And Dr. Carson became a mentor of mine in medicine, especially understanding that his role as the first chief of pediatric neurosurgery at Johns Hopkins, the youngest to do that, the first Black to do that, first to separate two conjoined twins by the head, and they both live. It was just remarkable what he was able to do. And having a chance to meet him and talk to him and ask him some advice through the way, he gave me some very simple advice that I'll never forget. He said, Myron, I was with him at church, him and his wife Candy, and I said, Dr. Carson, tell me what I should do going into neurosurgery. How can I be better? How can I be the best for my patients? And I was expecting him to say, well, you hold up the tissue with your left hand a little bit better. Got to make sure you have good, ergonomics, and you can see the brain tumor that well, whatever. But no, he said, look, I'm not going to talk to you about science. I'm going to talk to you about this. Always be nice to the lunch ladies and janitors. Say hi to them every single time, because they have lives and stories as well, and they're people too. And he's like, sometimes you can see the CEO or the president of the hospital or the chairman of a department, and you can want to overlook these individuals who are in the hospital with you. And I said, that is the way to not only stay grounded, but also to keep perspective on, why are we doing this? We're not doing this for self-aggrandization. We're doing this to help save lives and help people. So having a mentor like that speak life and sort of shift your thoughts and ideas about what medicine should be, and put it really into perspective to make you sort of a healer and a patient-centered provider. That was excellent. So that's just an example of how mentorship is so important. And I write about that in the book too.
Yeah, and it brings up this point that I recognize in you, and I'm sure you've probably heard or got this, is a humility about you, considering all of the different things that you've done, considering that it'd be very easy for you to give in to hubris, but you carry this humility. And can you talk about why that's important? There are so many celebrities, people we see with achievements today, who are just ignoring other people, and you still are carrying this humility and lifting that up as a value. Why is that important?
Well, I think it's important because of where I come from. I recognize, the Bahamas as being a wonderful place, but a place with some limitations. And I recognize that this gift that I've been given, thankfully by the grace of God, is one to be used, and to be used for those most vulnerable who feel almost that they weren't supposed to see a Black neurosurgeon walk into their room. They're just like, well, are you supposed to be here to take out my trash or take out my tray? No, I'm here to take out your brain tumor, and I want to do this together with you, and we're going to work through this. And that's exciting for me to sort of be one of the individuals who helps save their life, but maybe also change how they think about the narrative as it relates to someone who comes from my sort of body. So, I think it's bigger than just the black and white science behind it. I think there's more to medicine. I think there's more to life, to really look at people and really look at their struggles, look at everyone as having issues, and everyone is having their own personal demons, but we can walk together and move towards a better place together, with with a change in our mindset, and with a with an outlook and a perspective that says, we are all flawed individuals. We all fall short of the glory of God, but we know we have somebody who's got us. We know we have somebody who can protect us, and we know that if we do this together, we are much powerful than if we walk through it alone in a silo. And so that's kept my senses sort of accurate when I'm in the hospital, and when people give me these praises and give me these awards. I'm like, look, it's not for me. Look, if it wasn't for who I have behind me, supporting me, you wouldn't even know where I'd be right now. Trust me, you wouldn't have heard from this name. But I'm blessed to be able to share that, and every opportunity I get, just like in this book and other interviews I've given in the past, I never fall short of saying who these individuals are, and how my inspiration happens, and how all this works behind the scene, because it's a team for sure.
Absolutely. So one of the questions, I'm going to ask two more questions, and my second to last one, just it happens to be for our audience, again, folks in our generation, people who are trying to find their stride, find their success, and find themselves, are often dealing with how to move on from disappointment. And this is one of the things I love about your book, that it's not just a series of lists of things that you've done, but there are some real human moments of things not going the way you anticipated, or you not being able to have the sorts of success that you wanted, but still recovering and continuing on. Can you talk about how you can do that? What is advice that you can give to folks who may be changing careers, or switching schools, or shifting, maybe let people's expectations down? That's one of the things that you talk about a lot, but are moving on from a place of disappointment.
Yeah, that's so accurate, and that's why I think this book is really a revealing tale of life in general, not just my life, but life that many people live. You know, I got released from the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2012 after my third season in the NFL when I was young, 24, 25 years old, competing at a high level, had teammates, Ryan Clark, Troy Polamalu, Larry Foote, who were
Mm,
all telling me that I'm out there balling, playing well. They're shocked that I was cut, shocked that I was released, shocked that I no longer have a job with the team. Couldn't believe it. Called me up immediately when I sent him a text. Even the head coach, Mike Tomlin, said some of the same things. It wasn't his decision to let me go. It was someone a little bit higher up. So all these things, it was tough for football to be ripped from me. And so I knew I had to make a transition from football to medicine, which I've always thought about after reading Ben Carson's book as a fifth grader. But going from one place to the other, yes, there's going to be pain. There's going to be moments of lamentation. There's going to be, self-doubt, uncertainty. What do I do next? But I think for me, what truly helped me, and I think will help a lot of people in these situations when you go from one to another, or you're trying to rebound or recover from challenging situations, is truly dive in and commit yourself to that 2% way process. Because not only does that help you move forward every day and give you the assurance that you've got these small victories every single day that you can applaud for yourself and say, look, all right, I got this done. I'm feeling good. That's a little bit better. I'm a little bit better. These small sort of steps, they become an amalgamation of what you will be. But if you just take these victories and you feel good about that, then it also distracts you from the noise of maybe letting people down, not fulfilling your
mm,
expectations, not playing or doing something that you wanted to do before. That noise was sort of silenced and really buried after I dove into medicine. I said, I'm going to do the MCAT. I'm going to shadow neurosurgeons. I'm going to read academic journals. I'm going to look at YouTube videos about how to do neurosurgery correctly. I'm going to find out how to apply for medical school. All of that was like so focused that I said, I have no time to worry and sulk and pout and feel bad about my situation because I'm still here. God still
mm.
got me and I'm still moving forward every single day. And this 2% victories every single day make me feel like I'm moving and I'm having progress. And the slow progress is okay. It's better than no progress. And so that is the advice that I'd give young people, especially as they transition from one to another or as they're overcoming adverse situations.
Fantastic. So my last question for you, I know this is happening. We're sharing this. Father's Day is coming, and you yourself are a father who got newborns. Can you just talk about why it's important and why you enjoy celebrating being a dad and fathers, your own father you talk about so much in the book? Why is that important that we celebrate fathers?
Yeah, it's so important to celebrate fathers for several reasons. I mean, daddies are. I still call my father my daddy. They're remarkable. They're kings. They are pillars. They lead, and we need leaders. We need individuals who are able to, make that Christian home and make decisions, decisive decisions that are beneficial to everyone involved. And I've seen that work through my own home growing up with my father and my mummy. They've been married 50 years. Making that decision to come from Nassau, Bahamas, to end up in New Jersey and have us raised there since I was 3 years old, that was a bold choice. I mean, we didn't know anyone. We didn't have any
Mm,
family around. It was like, look, we're going to start over, start new in a new country. Let's see what we can do. And his guidance with Mummy informing every single decision. Let's not
yeah,
forget the mothers, right? So the women
yeah,
are
yeah.
right there doing it too. It was just amazing. And so now, as a father of four, I have four kids under the age of two. I'm just so excited to impart and share all the things, the blessings that my father has taught me. My father-in-law is amazing as well, and so I love it. I really do. I think at times we forget about what strong fatherhood looks like, what strong men in the household looks like,
Mm,
and to be able to now take on that role, put on that hat, and not just be a neurosurgeon or a philanthropist or a mentor. I could just be a dad to Zora, Zayed, Zanzi, and Zafar. It feels very good.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I love the Z's. You see, I've got J's in my house and A's. And yeah, that's fantastic. Well, Myron, I want to thank you so much again for sharing with us at Urban Faith. Just uh incredible story, incredible journey. I want to remind everybody your book, The 2% Way, go get it, check it out. You will be inspired. I mean, I can say reading this, I was really just like, wow. I started off like, why is he talking about neurosurgery? I can't get it. But you really did take the time to explain why and break it down. And I'm just grateful for your story. Is there anything else you'd like to leave our audience with before I let you go?
I'm just very grateful for this opportunity. I really am. I think this book is a lot of my personal work, and I put a lot into it, and a lot of energy and emotion effort, and I'm hopeful that it just changed somebody's life. There are a lot of books that I read as a young person, as I mentioned. Gifted Hands was one of them, and others that really just opened my eyes to what I possibly could be. I saw myself in these individuals, and then I said, okay, this is doable, this is attainable, and I'm hoping that this book, whether it be for you or someone you love, can do the same. So we're excited about it. And I just thank you, Allen, for giving me the chance to share.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Myron. Again, everyone, you'll see in this article the links to go find the book. Check it out, The 2% Way. We're grateful for having you, Dr. Myron Rolle, neurosurgeon, former NFL player, Rhodes Scholar, Oxford graduate. Thank you for sharing with Urban Faith.
Thank you.